Continuing, let's see what we've got. Relictes sibi heredites. So, any estates left to him by those abis who had children, to whom there were children to, he did not take. So he didn't receive any inheritances from people who had children. So he must have revoked it. And any legacies, legatum even, from the will and testament of Ruscius Caepionis, who had a caveat in his will and testament that on those quartanus means every year, ingredientes, people ingrediing or going into the curia, the Senate House, who would give a certain sum, viritum, in the Tim family of adverts, to each man, to the senators. He would bestow some amount of money from his legacy. Okay, so it looks like in the will and testament of this guy, there was a caveat that any of the senators would get a certain amount of money each year, and Domitian made this irritium, so invalid or in vain, empty. Rios, accusative plural, people who were brought in the court, the accused people, who before, in the quinquennium proximum, in the closest 5 years ago period, who had perpendicent, there was amongst the treasury, apud aurem, they had something owing, or some debt owing or hanging. Universally, he's liberated them, he's freed them with discriminine, that's just some ablative. Neither could the case be resought, unless it was intra annum, unless it was in 1 year. He permitted it with a condition, with a certain condition, that to the accusator who did not hold their course. So if you didn't win your case in the court, the accuser brings the reoses into court, and if the accusers lose, they don't hold their case up, the punishment is exilium, so they go into exile. Scribes quaestores. Quaestors are a public office, so they're scribes who are present participating, who are doing business according to habit or from a habit, but were against the Claudium law. Legum is the law. He donated a pardon for them for in praeteritum, for the for what they've done in the past. So I guess they'll be charged for any new offences, but he gave them a pardon for what had gone by. What's the lobe say? Nothing is known of this law. Livy mentions a law of Q. Clodius, which forbade senators to engage in business, and the law may have had a chapter referring to scribe quaestoria and other civil service, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Subsciva, something to do with being left over. It's a bit like relictes, things left over things, which were divided through. Okay, so the divided lands, which had gone out to the veterans, usually after you've come out of veteran in military service, you get land. So the leftover bits, carptum in the Tim family of adverbs, it just means every now and again or something, or selectively or something. Superfluent, again, these means they're superfluous or leftover bits. So every now and again there are bits over lands after all the veteran soldiers have been settled. He conceded them to the veteribus possessoribus, so the old possessors that had it taken from them, so that they could have use of it. Fiscals calumnius, magna calumniantium poena repressor. Okay, so fiscal calumnias, so accusations of these calumnia people, the people who the calumniators, I guess they are. So if they're making false cases, basically, he repressed them with a great punishment, magna poena, and it is said that his words were, Princeps, the emperor, who does not castigate the delators, these are informants, he irritates. So he provokes them or excites them, so it's better off castigating them. Okay, so daily dictionary, calumny, here's all the different calumnies. Calumnia, false accusation. calumnior is to accuse falsely. Calumniator, the noun, a carping critic. I could click on that and get other info. This one up here is the objection, etc. And calumnia is an accusation itself. So there's a whole bunch of things. Might as well click on calumniator. False accuser, perverter of the law, pettifogger, chicaner, carping critic, etc. Chapter 10. But neither in clementiae, okay, so it's tenor, in with a tenor, because these are genitives. So neither in his course, or the pathway of clemency, nor in abstentia, or controlling himself, did he remain. Nevertheless, he was a little bit more calorious, a little more quicker to disassociate from these clemencies and abstinia towards savagery than towards desire cupidatum. A disciple of Paris, Paradisus the pantomime, double genitive, who was still an impube, hadn't reached puberty, had a beard, etc., when he was maxim agrum, when he was extremely sick or something, because in art and form, blatives, he was not absimilis. He wasn't that different, taking the dative, than his master, it seemed, videbatur he seemed, so occidit. So he killed this accusative, this disciple. Item likewise, homogeneum the Tarsian, from Tarsus, on account of certain figures in history. Take what you want out of that. Even librarians, these scribes actually, who had written this history, I'm guessing, he affixed, though they were fixed on to be tortured on a cross. Basically, they were crucified. Patrum familiars, head of the family, quod because he said a Thracian was par equal to a mammalian. I think that's someone who fights with a net, possibly, or in the arena. He had said was impar, unequal to a munanario, someone who paid for the games maybe or bought the games on. He was detracted from the seating where they watched, the spectaculars, and he was cast in the arena to canabuses, which are dogs. So I guess he died in a horrible way, with this title, Impius Locutus Palmarius. So locutus means it was spoken, so he spoke impiously. This here, I believe, says he favours Thracians or something. You could probably Google it. So Palmer was a shield anyway. Complures senators, many senators, and in these aliquot, several ex-consuls, consulars, ex-consuls, he interremitted, he killed them, from which was Civica Cerealia, whatever that is, who was in a proconsulship in Asia. Salvidinium Ophidium, these are all accusatives. Achilleum Glabrionum, who was in exile, as if they were molotors or striving of Novarum Rerum for revolution. Keteros, the rest of the people, concerning whatever cause there was, whatever light cause there was, it looks like he's killed them. And Alium Lamina, because of suspicious indeed. But they were true, what he was saying, and it looks like they were old. He'd said this in innoxious jokes, okay, so he made some suspicious jokes long ago, which were true, that after Domitian had abducted this guy's wife, Lord Anti, vocem suum, he had said eutacto, must be some Greek thing. No idea what that is. Anyway, and with Titus encouraging him to concerning another matrimony, he'd responded with a Greek thing here, which is, are you looking for another wife? Salvium Coccolanium, some other guy, looks like he's died because of his paternal uncle, the Emperor Otho. he had celebrated a diem natalem, so he celebrated the birthday of this quadruple genitive. Another guy who's killed, Metium Pompusianum, because they say he had commonly or vulgarly a genesis sort of thing. It looks like he had a family tree in Praetorium, so he had some maybe birthright that seemed imperial, or maybe there were some omens. So word got around that he was a bit of an imperatorial sort of person. And because depicted of the orbum terram, the world, he had in a membrane or in parchment or animal skin, and the assemblies of kings, that must be the words that the kings had given in assemblies, and of the generals from Titus Livius, he circumferred about with himself. So, okay, there's the main verb. So this guy had a map of the world and a lot of speeches of kings and of generals, and he carried about with him, so it looks like that's a good reason to kill him. And because names to his slaves, his services, he had bestowed or given them of Mago and Hannibal. Okay, they were Carthaginians, so I suppose that drove Domitian angry and he killed him. Celestium Luculum, the legate of Britain, because new lances, or lances of a new form, he passos, he allowed or suffered to be called, so he allowed them to be called Luciliuses. So he's named it after himself. So, of course, that got the emperor angry and he was killed. Unium Rusticus, because of Patius Thrasus and of Helvidius Priscus, he produced a disaster laudes, praises or elegies, and he called them Sanctissimus Viros, very, very good men. Cuius Criminus, of these sort of incriminations, in this occasion, all the philosophers he submoved. He moved them out of the city in Italy, so they're all banished as well.